So today we're going to talk about digital literacy, which means literacy as it applies to a text like a website, as opposed to a text like an article or a book, which is what we've been reading primarily from throughout the year. You'll notice your graphic organizer has two columns. One is website characteristics, and this refers to any characteristic of a website that we're going to want to know and be able to talk about. The second characteristic is literacy skills. This refers to basic reading skills as they apply to a website. What I'd like you to do now is pause the screencast and talk with your buddy about which website characteristics you already know about. When you're done talking with your buddy, you can resume the screencast and continue at your own pace. Okay, now that you've thought through which website characteristics you already know, we're going to look at an online example of a website so you can think more about the ones that you don't. As we read and watch, I'd like you to take notes on both the website characteristics and the literacy skills as they're discussed. So let's take a look. Let's say for a sample research project you are researching gas prices. Here's your scenario. I found information on higher gas prices. I found a website. Now we need to think about how to go about reading this website and how to determine whether this is a credible website that we'd actually want to use for our project. So let's think about that. Here's the website. First, I'm going to skim the headline. Skimming, as it applies to any other text, is just glancing quickly through text features as opposed to slowing down and reading every single sentence. Skimming is your best friend when it comes to website reading because you need to skim a site before you determine whether it's really worth reading. So if I do a quick skim up here, gas prices go over $2 for the first time ever, and a quick skim of the subtitle here. They set a new record for the 3-year anniversary of Bush's plans, maybe this immediate release, maybe a couple words down here I'm going to skim. I'm basically getting a sense of whether or not this website is worth reading further after just doing a quick skim or overview of the website. So these are the kinds of things I'd be skimming here. The headline and subhead say that the gas prices are higher than ever. So make sure that you understand that the headline is the big title and the subheading is the small title beneath it. Now I'm going to start questioning the website. And I'm going to think about various features and ask myself some questions about it as I go. So my first question is, why does it say for immediate release? What does that mean on this website? The website page is about gas prices, but who wrote this and why? I'm questioning the text to get a sense of what it's about. There's another skill when it comes to website reading called snatch and grab reading. That means I just look for various components of the text and I kind of snatch it to sort of get a basic sense. So for example, I'm going to read the header up here to see who owns the site. The header is the big overarching heading at the very top of the website. So I'm snatching and grabbing to get a sense of who exactly wrote this website. And it says John Kerry for president. Now this was a few years back, but John Kerry was a presidential candidate of past campaigns. So I'm snatching and grabbing to get a sense of who this website came from. As it says, the header says John Kerry for president, so that gives me a pretty good idea of who this is about. I'm also looking at the title bar. That's where the URL is at the very top to get a sense. And I'm applying my prior knowledge about what I know. I know John Kerry was a candidate for president in years past. The next skill I want to talk about is resistant questioning. This is a really important skill when it comes to reading a website. Basically, resistant question means being critical of the website and asking questions that might expose biases or weaknesses of the website that might reveal that I actually don't want to use this source. So an example of a resistant question might be, why does Kerry for president want this information published here? What's his agenda? What's he getting from this? I'm asking these resistant questions, which means I'm resisting the information of the website, kind of playing devil's advocate to get a sense of what exactly is this information trying to say. So I'm looking at tabs. That's another feature of a website that we'll want to be able to talk about. Tabs are often across the top of a website and are different links that I can click to go to different sections of the website. That's my prior knowledge of a website medium. So tabs can be very important to tell us exactly who wrote a website and why. So I'm scanning the tabs to figure out the key goals of this website. The tabs say things like contribute, meet up, volunteer, and there's a blog. So clearly the tabs tell me that this is for contributors and volunteers. So the website's audience must be people who want to support Carrie. Notice I'm inferring there. The website never comes out and tells me, hey, here's my audience. But because it says things like contribute, I know it must be asking for money. And volunteer, I know it must be asking for political volunteers who might want to work for the campaign. So I can infer that John Kerry's website is for supporters of his campaign. That's an inference I can make based on the tabs across the top of the page. And maybe people who want to know more about his positions on issues. So this is giving me a sense of whether or not this is good information. Now this brings me back to another resistant questioning. But why publish information on gas prices on this site? Why would a presidential nominee want to post information about how much gas costs? Again, I'm resisting the website. I'm trying to get a sense of whether this is really a good website or not. So that's my resistant questioning. So I'm going to scan the page, kind of do a quick once-over. There are breadcrumbs at the top. The breadcrumbs are these features here that kind of give you a path of where you came from to get to this particular page. I started at home, I clicked on press room, and then I clicked on press releases. So think of breadcrumbs as like a history of your clicking to get to where you are right now. So I'm scanning. I'm looking at these things to try to figure out this page. I'm scanning the breadcrumbs. This page is part of a selection of press releases. Okay, I'm trying to kind of scan and get a better sense. I'm looking here. I remember wondering what a press release was. So I'm kind of scanning back over that as I try to get a sense of this page. So I bet this information must be directed to the press, his press corps for his campaign. These are some things that I'm scanning. I'm also kind of noticing based on this that reporters must come to this website to get information on Kerry's position. So I'm kind of scanning more to figure out. I'm going to read the first paragraph kind of quickly, to kind of get more of a sense. So again, I'm scanning. I'm not deciding to read the whole website yet, but I'm just doing a quick scan of paragraph 1. And maybe this bolded section is important to read from a Kerry spokesperson. So maybe I would kind of scan that. Notice it talks about typography cues. That's another thing we're going to want to be able to talk about when it comes to websites. A typography cue has anything to do with the type and how the author might be trying to give us a cue based on the way that they format the typography or the type of the website. So a bolded paragraph probably communicates to me, oh, this is important. Other typography cues might be colors. A website creator might use colors as a typography cue, sizes of fonts to indicate something might be more important than another, underlining, bolding, italicizing. So you want to look for these typography cues, which website creators often leave for you to try to draw your attention to really important information. So again, so far I'm just kind of scanning the website, looking at different typography cues to try to get a sense of what's this website really about. I'm thinking about point of view. Point of view is whose opinion or perspective am I getting on this website? These paragraphs are criticizing the current president or then current President Bush's energy plan. So this is giving me important information about the point of view. This is probably from the point of view of a non-Bush supporter, which makes sense since it's a John Kerry website who was a Democrat who opposed Bush's administration policies. So point of view means whose opinion or perspective am I getting, and that's really important when determining website credibility. So I kind of pulled that out from just skimming those paragraphs. So what I'm trying to do is figure out the purpose of the website. A website's purpose is what is it trying to do? And if we go back to what we know about text purpose, is it trying to persuade me of something, inform me about something, entertain me about something, sell me something? And I'm trying to figure out here what the purpose is. That requires some synthesis, connecting information from across the text, and hypothesizing, because the website's probably not going to come out and tell me, but I'm going to have to figure it out on my own. So far, it seems like this website's purpose might be to persuade me something about Bush's energy plan, maybe to support Kerry instead. So that's text purpose. That's very important. So far, I know the point of view is for supporters of the candidate for president. The main idea is that our gas prices are the highest they've been due to incorrect energy policies. The audience, or who is it intended for, are the candidate's supporters, voters, and the press. And the purpose is to provide information to persuade readers about the candidate's wisdom and effectiveness. So by putting together some of these details, point of view, main idea, audience, and purpose, I can start to get a sense of whether or not this is a credible website. Does this writer have a bit of a bias when it comes to energy policies? Probably, since his purpose is to persuade us that he is an effective candidate and that our current president's policies are ineffective. So looking at point of view and purpose are really important to considering website credibility, whether or not I think this is a valid website to use for my research. So again, I'm going to do some resistant questioning. I wonder if this information is accurate. Might John Kerry's website staff be creating web information to try to manipulate his reader into believing what he believes? So once I've decided if it's a credible website to use, I need to sort of get a game plan for my research. Noodle Tools has this great page that asks you to choose the best search engine for your information needs. I know we often just go straight to Google and just use Google for everything, but we need to think about whether there might be a better source out there. So there are actually websites that are meant for specific types of searches. Maybe I just need a few good hits, I'll use Google or Yahoo. Maybe I want to compare results quickly. There's actually a search engine called ZapMeta that allows you to compare things. Maybe I want to do an academic search. That means more scholarly type articles. I might look at the library databases, or Informine is another source I could use there. I want to search confusable terms or ignored terms. So there's this thing called Alta Vista Advanced. So basically what I'm trying to say is there's different search engines for different purposes, and we want to be sure that we're searching purposefully. So going back to our notes, we've thought through website characteristics, what are the things we need to know about on a website, and website literacy skills, how do we apply those when we're reading a website, and hopefully now we have a better sense of how to approach a digital text.